Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the official Zendesk Blockbuster training video. I'm really excited to get to share this platform with you guys. It's proved to be super successful in St. Louis for the car haul division of our business, and so this is a platform that we are officially launching company-wide now. So every division of our organization, sprawling from Kansas City with TNR down to Atlanta on the drive-away side, will be operating out of this platform now going forward. So I'm super excited to finally start making some traction with everybody and getting everybody trained to prepare for the rollout of this system. So a few things that I just wanted to cover really quick before I get into the nuts and bolts of the actual demo is a few questions kind of have come up prior to after some folks have gotten into the sandbox, and a few things that I want to hit on. Your traditional email is not going away. That is still in place. That is still going to be used on a daily basis. It's just that emails exchanged between certain individuals in the organization have their own distinct purpose. So if you would need to email something for, just my knowledge, you send me an email, absolutely. But the mindset I want to change and how we need to be looking at the use of Zendesk now going is Zendesk is a tool that is supposed to help manage our day-to-day core business operations. So emails that are tied to status updates, service requests, any kind of inquiry or update that an AC would need from operations, or vice versa, something operations needs from an AC, or something that you need the billing department to complete on an order for you or revise, or anything of that nature that is handling our day-to-day business, that is what should be executed in Zendesk. Things that are informational, such as process changes that everybody needs to know about, or some kind of an important update that is affecting everybody company-wide, those are things that are going to stay in email form, that are actually going to hit your individual email. But everything else that's tied to our day-to-day core business functions are going to be executed out of Zendesk. A few high-level kind of basics of why Zendesk is a beneficial tool. One, it is huge when it comes to managing large amounts of emails that are coming at an organization, and they need to be managed effectively and in an organized fashion. That's exactly what Zendesk is designed to do. Large companies such as Amazon, Facebook, YouTube, any of those big companies that have tons of inbound customer support type emails coming at them, they utilize platforms like this. So that way, the people that work for them are the most effective on the day-to-day, and they provide the highest level of customer service that they can. So ultimately, we're following suit, hence why we're switching over to a really good system like this. So benefit on that front. The other benefit is, I don't know how many of you have taken a vacation and you've come back to 1,000 different emails in your inbox, of which probably 980 of those are already handled, and there's really only about 20 that you yourself need to follow up on. Zendesk eliminates that, because you're no longer going to be cluttered in your email with all that stuff. If those 980 emails that were completely taken care of while you were out, that's going to be in Zendesk, and those are going to already be tickets that were solved out of sight, out of mind at this point. You're going to come back to truly just the things that you need to take action on now that you're back in the saddle, and you will not be so overwhelmed with playing catch up. That's a huge benefit, and one of the main reasons why St. Louis chose to kind of switch over to a platform like this was truly for that efficiency, because we started seeing that very quickly all of our dispatchers, all of our operations folks were getting so bogged down with the volumes of emails they were getting on a daily basis, and they were stepping on each other's toes, where I would have already responded to an email, and my partner next to me didn't realize that I already took care of it, and then would respond an hour later to that email. So there was a lot of duplicate efforts. This tool will ultimately eliminate all of that. So a lot of really great benefits to this tool, and I think that give it just a few days and you guys will all start seeing the benefits once we get over the initial learning curve of using the system. Another big important thing to understand is that every department within our organization ultimately will operate out of Zendesk. So everything from where an order begins with NOPD all the way through the billing team. Every department core functions are going to be executed out of Zendesk. So if you have an order that you're looking at or an email in Zendesk that you're looking at that you know now the billing team needs to make a correction on, it's as simple as just moving that ticket from your operations view over to the billing view. And we'll kind of go through all of that later on in the demo. So I just wanted to make that very clear that we are getting to a point where we will all be playing in the same sandbox. Pretty soon, eventually, we'll all be in the same TMS as well, but this is at least one step in the right direction of getting us all on the same page and all working in the same platform. So that's kind of high level, the quick tidbit on just kind of some of the reasons why we're going to a system like this and the benefits that it's going to bring to us. So I'll get into the demo here in just a second, but just be mindful that this demo, I am going to be demoing this in the sandbox environment. So this is not the real live environment. It's going to kind of look like what your sandbox is going to look like, but just be mindful, you might have different views if you're in a different department. I'm currently set up as a dispatcher under the operations or drive away type view. So just be mindful your views, depending on what department you work in, may look a little bit different than what mine are in this specific instance. But high level, the concept and the use of the tool should be applicable to all of you watching. So we're going to go ahead and kick this off. And I'm just going to, whenever you click your link to get into the sandbox, it should take you to a screen similar to like what you're seeing here. So we're going to go ahead and go the sign in route here. Let me sign in as my dispatcher. All right, so then whenever I just put in my credentials, the screen really didn't change a whole lot. Not to worry, it logged you in. So step that you need to take is you should have 4 little buttons up here. If you click this icon and click support, that's where you need to go. That's going to take you into where you're going to access all your different views and your functions in Zendesk that you'll be working on. So this is the main kind of home screen that the system's going to bring you to. You're probably not going to spend a ton of time working out of this specific view, but a few key pieces that I want to hit on real quick while we're on this page. So up here, we are on the home tab. This is where we are currently. It's highlighted in a lighter color green, so that way you can see that. A few important things that will be meaningful to you. This solved button. Eventually, whenever we get to the different statuses, you'll see that we have the ability of solving tickets. Solving tickets in the system ultimately means everything has been taken care of with this email chain. You can pretty much file this thing away. There's nothing further that needs to be done with it. It's completely taken care of. So you would solve that ticket out. If there's ever an instance where you solve something and you're like, oh shoot, I need to pull that back up. I didn't mean to solve that out. Not a big deal. You would just come home, click this solved button. I haven't solved any tickets this week in this sandbox, so none are showing up here. But if I had, some will show up here. So I'll show that a little bit later whenever I solve a ticket out, how you can find that. Another key important thing that will be helpful at times is you can click on any tickets that are currently in open status that are assigned to you specifically. You can click here and see those tickets here. As we kind of all get acclimated to the new system, I think some people will be able to use this a little bit more than others, but I just wanted to put it out there that is available for you. Other kind of just the general bearings of the screen here to show you. The next button down is your views button. This is primarily where everybody is going to go. This is where, if you're, depending on what role you're in within the company, your different views over here may vary. If you're in TNR, you're going to have different types of TNR type views that you guys work out of. If you're in operations, you're going to have whatever territory you fall in. You're going to have your different areas that fall under your territory. As you, and if you were in billing, you may have, your AR stuff or whatever your different views that we set up for you in there. So if I am, for example, an Atlanta local dispatcher, I currently have 5 tickets in the view. You'll see this is all of these fields up here we can modify. I think for the most part, the way it's configured right now will be best suited for how we move forward. A few things, obviously it's pretty self-explanatory. I think you guys can all kind of understand, where we're going after here. right here, these little colored icons, these are your statuses of the tickets. So these top 4 here that are in yellow, these are all new status, meaning they are brand new emails. Nobody's really actually taken any full action on them. I see James has got a comment on this ticket, but since James doesn't know how to use the system quite yet, he didn't do what he was supposed to do with this situation. But as you change the status of the ticket, the color will change, and obviously the name of the status will change as you manipulate it and as you execute the ticket. So all of this data in here is completely test data. I just sent some emails in that kind of sort of looked like real life scenarios that we would deal with. And then the other thing is, as new tickets come in, none of these are new as of today, but I mean, it'll get down to updated a minute ago as far as when it was updated. So these were all multiple days ago, so that's why they're called out there. This is the group that it's assigned to. Obviously, DA stands for drive away. Car haul is also going to be in this system. So we had to add a little prefix on there to make sure that we're segregating the tickets appropriately between our drive away segment and our car haul segment. So if we were to change this from an Atlanta local view over to NOPD, the group that it's assigned to would change. You can even take it a step further. We're going to click into a ticket here, and I'll review some of the stuff on this front. So a ticket ultimately is an email, okay? It's the same thing, it's just Zendesk refers to it as a ticket. So here's your subject line like you would traditionally have in an email. One thing that I do want to call out is we are going to be changing the email addresses in transport. So as you guys go to email directly out of an order to whether it be an AC or an AC trying to email operations, the emails are going to be updated in transport so that way they direct to Zendesk. So we will not have to worry about changing anything of that nature. So up here in the top left corner, this is your assignee section. This is where you can direct, this is who should be working this ticket. So if, for example, this situation, I don't know what the situation is in this email, Alicia Bray, pretend she's a customer, or an AC in this example I had sent in. I received a new number for the destination and it was just updated in transport. So obviously Alicia is just letting the Atlanta local team know, hey, we got a new number that was updated in transport, blah, 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 whatever the case would be. So really in this situation, whoever's handling this would realize, okay, cool, we got a new number, I can call and schedule this. So it's as simple as just add your comment, calling to schedule the delivery now. Thank you. Something as simple as that, just to acknowledge that you received the update from whoever sent that to you. And then we could either solve it out or do whatever that we need to do. One thing that I want to call out real quick is the difference in internal note and public reply. The system will automatically default to always pulling up a ticket and your comments are going in under internal notes. The reason that this is very important is that public reply, if you switch it over, it's going to change the background to white. That means that if you check public reply, whatever information you're putting in here and submitting is going out to anybody that initially sent this email in or anybody that would also be listed as a CC on the ticket. So as we start utilizing this, there may be instances where customers are actually emailing into an AC. The AC may assign this ticket over to operations, and we just need to be mindful that really, in most instances, the AC is going to be the one communicating directly with the client. So in most instances, we want our notes to go internal. So that way only our fellow colleagues within our organization are seeing the information we're putting on the tickets. Public reply means you want your response to actually go via email notification out back to the person that originally sent in this ticket, which would be the requester ultimately. This email address called out right here is technically what's called the requester in Zendesk. Requester is the sender, whoever sent the email in. So if it came, you know, it could come from, like an example, Jeremy Dewey with ARI. Jeremy Dewey could email ARI Transport, and Jeremy is going to be the requester. You would see traditionally Jeremy's email right here, And then if Lynn would send that ticket over to the Atlanta team saying, hey guys, I need an update on this. As you can see, Jeremy's asking where this vehicle's at. If you guys do a public reply and switch it over, your response is going back to Jeremy. Not that I'm saying that's not appropriate in all instances, but we just need to be very diligent and understand the difference between a public reply that is public, everybody is seeing what you're putting here, versus the system defaulting as internal notes. So we had a few hard lessons learned in St. Louis back in the day where the system didn't always default to internal note. It kind of defaulted to public reply, and we made a few oopsies where we sent something back to a customer that we didn't really intend to send back to the customer. So hence the beauty of the system always defaulting to the internal note first, and you have to take it a step further if you're actually trying to send outbound notifications to everybody involved in the ticket. So this would be a good situation where at this point, there's really no further action needing to be done. The AC simply just let me know that they changed the phone number in the system. They were just doing kind of a courtesy of sending me an email. So I'm all good. I'm going to go ahead and call this customer and see if I can get it scheduled. This ticket is completely taken care of at this point. I can submit it as solved. I will do that here in just a second, but while I have the statuses open, I'd like to kind of walk through those with you guys. So there's a bunch of different statuses here that we can utilize to set tickets in. If you solve it, it's going to make it disappear from your guys' view. It's out of sight, out of mind at this point. It's solved. It's completely taken care of. There is no further action needed on anybody's part. That's what the solving status does. Submitting it as open, if you hover over these statuses as well, Zendesk kind of defaults to showing you a quick little blurb of how you should look at the status. So open, you're actively working the ticket. You yourself or somebody on your team is actually doing something currently with this ticket. So it's actively getting worked. Submitting something as pending, if you're sending a response to somebody, say an AC, like you sent a note over to ARI Transport or wherever the case would be, you would want to submit something as pending if it's critical that you are waiting on their reply. Pending, you just need to keep in your mind you're waiting on a response to come back. It kind of helps keep it open in your view, so that way you can keep following up on it if you need to send them, every other day. Hey, where are we at with this? Where are we at with this? Do we have a response on this? Submitting something as on hold status, that just pretty much means that something maybe not tied to Zendesk is holding you up on this. Car haul, traditionally, you can use this for a variety of reasons. If you know that you just want to follow back up on this for your own self, and in 2 days you want to check with this driver, do a quick follow-up call because of a problem that arose with it, you could submit it as on hold status. It'll keep it in your view so that way you don't lose sight of it and that you can remember to follow up on it. But it just means that there's no active action that truly needs to be taken right this second on that ticket. So I'm going to go ahead and solve this ticket out, because in this particular instance, there's not really anything further that needs to be done. It's completely taken care of. One thing I'm going to kind of make note of real quick is this order ID on this ticket, because I want to show you guys the search functionality here in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and solve this ticket out. Now, you can see it showed me that the ticket was updated, and this view actually now just went from 5 tickets down to 4, because my ticket that I solved is now gone. It's out of sight, out of mind. But in an instance where you're like, oh shoot, I didn't mean to solve that out, I still need to do something with that. Not a big deal. Here's your little search bar up here. Just like how you can search in your email, you can search in Zendesk. And I assure you this search functionality is super great. If you type in, obviously you've got to search something that's a keyword within the ticket, whether it be in the body of the text or it be in the subject line. Either way, the search will bring back any ticket associated with what you search in here. So that last ticket that I just solved out, it was order ID 4318489. I can just simply do that and then give it a second. Here is the ticket that I just solved out. So you can see it was just updated less than a minute ago. It was updated and the status is showing gray and it's showing solved. Not a big deal. Let's just click on it. I realized, you know what? I need to do something further with this. Um, so let's write a quick note in here. Okay, and then no big deal. Let's just submit that ticket back as open. That way, we exit out of this tab. Oh, my view just went back up to 5 tickets. Here's my ticket that I just opened back up. So you have a lot of flexibility that you can solve tickets out. You can reopen them, not the end of the world. One thing that I'd like to call out is that there is no delete in Zendesk, okay? Delete doesn't exist. So if there's a ticket in here and it's, you know, somebody made an error on it, or it was kind of made on accident or anything of that nature, not a huge deal. Just put a quick internal note like, ignore this ticket or fake ticket or whatever the situation is and solve it out. Solving is just making it go away. You can solve something even if it was never meant to be created into a ticket to begin with. So you can't actually delete. Just keep that in mind. Another big factor that I'd like to show everybody as well is this is going to be, you can track Zendesk audit trails everything. So as you're moving tickets around to different views, different people are chiming in on tickets, you can actually audit trail everything. So right here, there's this, it's listed as the conversations drop down. You can actually switch this to events, and it will show you step by step every person that either changed the status of the ticket, if they move the ticket from the NOPD view over to the DA Atlanta local view. You can audit trail all of that. So you can follow the entire life cycle, everything that's taken place with this ticket. So I know that there have been concerns. I mean, ultimately, the accountability factor that's going to be huge on that front. As well as there's a lot of instances where I know today emails get sent to multiple people. You know, somebody thinks that their colleague's handling that email and then come to find out nobody handled it. Well, Zendesk is ultimately going to eliminate that because nobody should just be solving a ticket without doing anything with it. But in addition to that, you know, we'll be able to see, well, who solved this out and didn't do anything with it. So I think that we won't really get a whole lot to that point with our tickets because I think Zendesk is going to eliminate a lot of that disconnect that we experience today. But I just wanted to call that out, that is a helpful tool that is available to everybody. Another big thing, a question that came up is, can we attach attachments in Zendesk? You absolutely can. Just right here, there's the little paper clip that's traditionally the attachment button. This is where you would go and open up. I think most commonly, we're going to be dealing with picture attachments. If you're trying to send pictures to an AC in regards to a detail request or something of that nature, you absolutely have that functionality here. So don't stress about that. You have all the same functionality that you would traditionally would in an email. I want to show you another example here of how do you actually just create a ticket? How do you create a new ticket? So really easy. There's a little add button in the very top corner. You can either just click this button and it will default to opening up a new ticket for you, or you can hover over it and come down to tickets, whatever you feel like is easier. This is kind of your blank slate. Think of this as kind of a new email, so to speak. So requester. Requester is who is requesting the information. Traditionally, this is going to be you because you're creating the ticket. You're the person sending the request over to an AC, over to NOPD, over to TNR status, whoever the case would be. You are the requester. So this is traditionally where I would put my email address, alicia.bray@metrodistics. Put whatever you want in the subject line. The one best practice I would like to reiterate to everybody is that it's very important to include a BL number, an order ID number, a VIN number, some kind of unique identifier. So that way, if somebody's using the search functionality up here, you've given them a key piece of the order that they can search on to uncover tickets that exist out in Zendesk world in regards to this situation. So we'll just make up a quick example here. I don't know, whatever a BL number would be. Let's see here. We'll put in here. Okay. All right. And then we are going to, assignee is who needs to take action on this? So in this particular instance, let's walk the path of we're sending a detail request or kind of a follow-up to maybe a request that got generated out of transport to, we'll use the wheels team. So you can just simply start typing the AC group or the fleet group that would be handling this, and I can just select wheels transport. CS at the beginning, that's standing for client services, just FYI. So this is where the ticket is going to go. So that way, anybody that's assigned to managing the wheels view, this is where we're going to put that ticket. So I'm just going to put a quick little description in here. Needing to follow up on a detail request. Please see pictures attached. So if I have any pictures available, let's see, I don't know that I actually have any decent pictures that would work for an actual detail, but we will see if we can just use a quick, let's just use the fake picture that I have here of my old house in St. Louis. Pretend that this is a vehicle, a picture of a vehicle whenever we're requesting a detail. I'm just trying to show you the basic functionality here. So PDF, JPEGs, there are a bunch of different file formats out there that are supported within Zendesk, so we shouldn't run into issues with certain file formats not being supported, whatever the case would be. So in this situation, this is pretty much what I'm needing. I have who I'm sending this request to. This is who the request is coming from. I have my subject line. I have my description. What I'm going to do is I'm going to submit this now as a new ticket. That ticket now is going out to the wheels view. So you don't see it in your view because you're not the one that's actively like needing to take action on it. That ticket now is showing up as a new ticket, similar to how we have new tickets here, only it's in the wheels view now for the wheels team to take action on. Should you need to follow up on that ticket, not a big deal. Just simply search that BL number that it's related to, and you can find that ticket even though it's not in a view that you currently have access to. So if you would need to kind of nudge them along and put another comment on there, you could easily do that. Just simply search that BL number or whatever piece of unique identifier you tagged in the ticket, and you'll be able to find that. There's also this advanced search option that appears below. St. Louis has kind of gotten into a position now where they've had to start using the advanced feature because our order IDs have now gotten to a point where they are overlapping our traditional order ID or the IDs associated in the ticket. So Zendesk automatically tags the ticket with an ID. That's like a Zendesk ID ticket that they've given it. So we got into a situation where we've had so many Zendesk tickets created over the past few years that they're getting to the point where they're the same now as our order numbers. So we've had to take it a step further with our search functionality and start using the advanced search. But not a big deal. That's another option that's available to us as well. So let's pretend, let's look at this one. Let's pretend this is an email that you say this is a situation that you need NOPD to take action with this and do something for you. Let's pretend it's they need to add another leg onto this order in the system. So what I would do is I would simply just say, put in here, NOPD team, please add another leg onto this shipment to account for, we'll pretend that it just showed that it was going into storage, and we need to now create an out of storage leg for a customer pickup. We'll pretend that's the situation. So please add another leg onto the shipment to account for a customer pickup out of storage. So all that we're going to do now to get this to the NOPD team is we're just going to go up here to our assignee dropdown, type in NOPD. There it is, Client Services NOPD, and we can submit it as new. Now, this ticket is going to disappear from our view, and it's now over in NOPD's view for them to be able to take action on it. Once NOPD does their thing with it, they're going to type an internal note, new leg created in this order, and they're going to assign it back to the DA Atlanta local team, so that way they know their new leg is in the order, they're ready to go. They could simply solve out the ticket at that point if it was good to go, or if there was further action on it, they could leave it in their view for them to continue to manage. One thing that I do want to show you is that not only do you have the ability of assigning it to a specific group, but you can even take it a level deeper and assign it to a specific person within a group. So like when I searched NOPD just now, you'll see not only do I just have the overall NOPD general option to select, but I can also take it a step further and assign it to a specific person within NOPD. It's still going to be completely visible to everybody that would have that NOPD view. It's just that it would say NOPD here, and then there's your level deeper where you would have your individual person's name assigned to it. So if you have a ton of people that all work out of the same view, it's helpful to be able to kind of delegate the work in a way of assigning specific users to each one of these. So that way, looking at it at a high level, you can see, okay, cool, all of our tickets are handled except these 3 don't have specific people assigned to them. You don't have to assign specific people if everybody just kind of tag teams it and works as a group, but it's an option that's available to everybody. Another thing that I would like to talk about is this follow-up column right here. So I put in a fake little comment here for Alicia to review on 510. Notice this ticket is currently on hold. So it's black, it's got an H on it for the hold status. So this was kind of an example, like I mentioned earlier on the call, where you're out on vacation, you got somebody covering for you for a few days, you come back, and the only things that they've left for you are truly things that you still need to take action on, or they came to something that they were not familiar with, and they were like, I need to ask Alicia this when she gets back, what she would have done in this situation. This is a good example. You'd put a ticket on hold. You wrote yourself a quick little note. Alicia, check this out whenever you return. So that way, this is truly what you don't ever forget about those things. You don't have to keep a million different sticky notes around to ask somebody about something when they return or you forget. So how I got that little follow-up note over there to appear, this is helpful because as the ticket volumes grow in your guys' view and you have specific follow-up action that needs to be taken on a certain date, you can just simply put a quick little note over there to yourself, so that way you're not having to click through every ticket to see what those internal notes might be on the ticket. You could just see, for Alicia review on 510, obviously I put this note in there a long time ago, but whatever the situation would be. That's just simply this little column right here. You could put in here, if we were an AC and they needed to follow up with the client, say on June 3rd is when the client requested us to follow up on, they could just simply put follow-up 5-3, whatever the case is, or sorry, 6-3. We're at the end of May. 6-3, and submit it as on hold again. There we go. There's our follow-up note when we need to take action, and I left the ticket on hold because to me, I do not need to take any action on this until June 3rd comes rolling around, and that's when I'll follow up on this ticket. So that's kind of the follow-up feature. I think that will be very helpful for everybody out in the field as the tickets start growing in your guys' view, which I know they will. And a real situation is probably not going to only have 4 tickets in there, but just for this test environment, that's kind of where we're looking. So that's a super helpful feature that I think everybody should take advantage of. The one thing I want to reiterate is please try to be clean and organized with your notes that you put in here. You don't want to put an entire storybook of notes over here on this follow-up column, because the more data you put in there, the more cluttered up all of this is going to get. And then the simplicity and the cleanliness of using Zendesk starts kind of going down the drain a little bit. So that's one thing I want to call out on that front. If that ticket that we assigned to NOPD a few minutes ago, it was ticket number 108. I'm going to search that ticket real quick. No big deal. It popped up right up for me. I can see that it's currently living. It's in the client services NOPD box currently. If I need to put an update on it real quick, not a big deal. Please rush this along. I need to dispatch it out. Whatever the case would be. So obviously I can do an update on that. Anytime you update a ticket, it's going to automatically bump that ticket up to the top of the list as being most recently updated. So it should catch their attention to kind of help nudge them along on, hey, I need some attention on this. Please do what you can to help me out. So that's kind of the basics of creating new tickets. So, like I said, super, super easy process. The other way to create a ticket is if you would have start in your email and you email an address that's associated with Zendesk. So if alicia.bray@Metrogistics, right out of my Outlook, I created a new email to NOPD, it's going to automatically create a ticket because I sent it to NOPD, and NOPD is associated with Zendesk. So my sent email is going to automatically appear in Zendesk as soon as I click the send button. So that's kind of the other way that you would create tickets in Zendesk. So we've gone over public replies, internal notes, which is a super critical thing that I wanted to make sure I reiterated with everybody. The statuses, we covered those, the different use cases for the different statuses. And then ultimately, that's kind of the core functionality of the system. I mean, really, it's just a matter of keeping things organized with any and all actions being taken place and happen in one central consolidated location. So it's easier to follow life cycles of orders and what's taken place with them versus trying to search your email for 5 different email conversations all going on about the same order. And that's where I think sometimes we have disconnects or people are left out of the being copied on the email. So somebody critical can't take action like they should. So super, super important stuff on that front. So the other thing that I should show you guys is this macro functionality. Macros, we don't have any created in this test environment, but as we start utilizing this, we will be creating macros. Macros are kind of canned responses. So if you have kind of the same generic response that you send back all the time, whether it be to an AC, like, hey, we're looking into this, we'll get back to you shortly, or something of that nature, if it saves you a few keystrokes versus, you know, if you're a slow typer and it takes you a while to get kind of your basic responses out, create a macro. And I will gladly show you, as you guys get more familiar with the system, I will gladly show you how to create a macro. So like, let's see, I don't know what this, there we go. I don't know what our existing, the fake macros are that exist in the system right now, but there's an example. It puts your canned response automatically in there. So that way you don't have to actually type this out every single time. So we can definitely utilize macros as we get acclimated with the system. And as you guys come to me and say, hey, we are consistently sending this type of response back every single time. Can we create a macro for it? And it will be 2 clicks versus us having to type this storybook out every single time. So that's another important functionality. It's not even just responses. You can go even further with macros. It can do logic in the system of changing statuses on tickets. I mean, it gets pretty detailed, which for just a basic level of getting this rolled out, we won't go into all of that, but there's a lot of functionality that could be super beneficial for us down the road. So I wanted to throw that out there, if that's the use case of macros. One thing that I do want to show you all, which might be a little bit of a challenge considering I'm in this sandbox all by myself right now, but traditionally, if somebody, this is a huge benefit, which I wish I had somebody else in the sandbox to show you guys. Let me see if I can switch over to the live system. Hopefully this will follow me. So I'm showing you guys, I'm kind of cheating a little bit, and I'm showing you the real life. This is the Car Hall live system currently that they're working out of. What I'm trying to show you guys is this little eyeball feature. That means the system is going to show you, if you hover over this ticket, DeMarco Corals right here at the top of this little pop out. DeMarco's also viewing this ticket. You can see when fellow agents are looking at a ticket, when they're editing a ticket, so that way you eliminate stepping on each other's toes and you're not duplicating efforts. So that is a super, super beneficial thing that I think you guys will all take advantage of and appreciate. So that way, as you guys are all tag teaming, working through your tickets and trying to handle the oldest first, you can see somebody's already working on that one, so I'm going to click on the next one in line to start working on that front. So that will be available and will be working for everybody. The other thing that I want to show you guys is that this system ultimately, it updates in real time. There is this refresh button right here that you can use that will manually update the system. But if I'm on a ticket and somebody makes a comment on it, if you just give the system a second or two, that new comment will automatically appear in the system without you guys having to manually refresh. So Zendesk is super great on the real-time responsiveness of their system. So that's another important thing to call out. Outside of that, I mean, that's really kind of the core functionality of the system that I wanted to kind of walk through with you guys. I hope that this kind of helps paint a little bit clearer of a picture on how you should be using Zendesk, what the use case is, how you can move tickets around to different areas. I anticipate there being a few oopsies in the beginning where people assign tickets to maybe Atlanta when they were supposed to go to the Atlanta local team or whatever the case is. Not a huge deal, guys. It's just a few clicks to correct something. So this ticket was originally assigned to the Atlanta view. Let's pretend that I need to assign it to the Boston view. This is actually the Boston team that needs to handle this situation. Select the correct team, submit it as a new ticket. It's going to go away out of your view and go to them, so that way they can work on it. It's just a matter of moving one ticket around to different groups within our organization, logging whatever action you need your fellow colleague to take with it, and submitting it in the appropriate status. I do think in most instances, I do think that we will primarily be using the internal note functionality, but there will definitely be instances if it's just if no external customers are actually tied to tickets, where we can switch it over and do a public reply to where that person will get an email notification that we updated the ticket. But with everybody working out of Zendesk, and most of our communications on the operations front being with kind of ACs and sort of staying internally, we will primarily be living in the internal note world. But if you are an AC interacting with a client, you will always want to switch it over to public reply when you are actually sending them a response back, because if you save it under internal note, they are not going to get the message. So it's important to understand when it's appropriate to use public reply versus internal note. Sorry guys, I'm kind of biased to operations since that's the world I live in, so that's primarily what I'm talking through. But if you're client services, or you are maybe you're in claims and you're working directly with a client on dealing with a claim, that's an instance where you would do public reply because you're wanting to get your information back to the client. One important thing is if there is a few internal notes logged in a ticket and you're doing a public reply now, these internal notes that are highlighted in yellow, they will not show up to the client. So do not stress about that. What the client will see is that initially whatever is in white means it was in public. If it's in yellow, it's internal. So whatever is available in white is what the client's going to have access to if you do a public reply back to them. One thing that I do want to cover that I want to stress as a big no-no: do not mess with these tags, okay? Leave those alone. Do not add anything on the tags front. Do not delete anything on the tags front. The tags are very important in helping the system automate where these tickets go to within the system. Without those tags, something doesn't actually go to Atlanta local like it should. So long story short, just don't mess with the tags. You don't need to mess with it. It has absolutely nothing to help you as far as efficiency goes. They are kind of, I wish that I could hide those, but I can't. So just do not mess with the tags, please. The other thing, I guess one of the last things that I'd like to go over with you guys on this demo is just this little functionality here of Take It. This ticket right here does not actually have a specific individual assigned to it. It's just assigned to the DA local team. So I'm going to go in here, and I know this is potentially me specifically that's going to run this. So I'm going to just click that Take It button. It automatically assigns pretend I'm Johnny Dispatcher, it automatically assigns Johnny Dispatcher as the ticket. So, and you have to save it. So saving in Zendesk is submitting, okay? So if you make a change, if I update a comment on a ticket, if I don't click submit, it is not going to save my note. If I go to get out of this ticket, it's going to tell you, hey guys, all unsaved changes will be lost. Are you sure you want to continue? So just associate this submit button as your save button, okay? It's the same type of logic. Another one of the last things to go over is really, we have these little arrows up here. So you can actually click through your tickets by using these arrows too, if you prefer to navigate in that manner. I've never really utilized those in that way. I think it's easier coming back out from a high level view and seeing all the tickets that need action in my view that way. But to each their own, whatever makes everybody the most efficient. That's pretty much, I think, most of the high level core functionality that I wanted to talk about with everybody. Like I said, we're going to be doing some Q&As next week. I apologize if this is kind of an all over the place demo. I'm doing my best here on the fly to kind of give you guys the basics of how this system's going to work. And like I said, I'll be glad to walk through any specific questions or still concerns that you guys have on what to do in this instance, or how do you move a ticket around, or how do you anything that I maybe missed covering in this demo that you feel like you are wondering about now. Obviously jot those questions down, bring them to the Q&A sessions that we're going to be putting together next week, and I will be glad to spend a little bit more time in depth with you guys to help you understand the system a little bit better. But like I said in the beginning, it's a very user-friendly system. I think it's just a matter of getting y'all into the system. Give it an hour or two, and I think you guys will have your feet under you and you'll be running with it. So like I said, there's tons of people. We have tons of support. I mean, the entire St. Louis operation are experts on using the system. So if anybody's just in absolute meltdown mode and Alicia Bray is not getting it done for you on helping explain this to you, I have tons of other backup resources that I can definitely help you with on trying to paint a clearer picture. But I'm really excited, like I said, to get this all pushed out. I think it's going to bring a lot of benefits to us, and it's going to make our operation, in every department a ton more efficient, because we will be able to truly attack and see how long it's taking us to get things completed and help our group work get executed more efficiently without stepping on each other's toes. So I appreciate y'all's time today. Please make sure that as we get closer to rollout, you save the Metrogistics Zendesk link to your browser. When you come in the morning, it's going to be very critical. This is one of the first things you open up in the morning to start your day off, because this is where most of your tactical day-to-day emails that are getting our business going every single day are going to be handled from. So make sure you save this as a favorite, because you will be heavily utilizing this. We're going to be trying to really push those response times and watching these ticket times to try to help, make us better and better every day on how we're moving forward. So again, please bring any further questions, concerns, confusion you have to me on the Q&A sessions. And I appreciate you guys sitting through this demo and look forward to getting this thing rolled out. Thanks so much.